Have you ever noticed how money can create tension in a relationship, even when both people genuinely love and care about each other? Sometimes the stress isn't really about the money at all, it's about the memories, the wounds, and the old energetic patterns that money awakens within us. In this video, I want to share a powerful story that demonstrates exactly how this happens and how healing the deeper layers can shift a relationship far more quickly than you might expect. Money is one of the biggest sources of stress in relationships, but most of the time it's not the numbers on the bank statement that hurt us. It's what those numbers actually represent in our emotional world. So it's things like safety, freedom, fairness, worthiness, independence, and sometimes very old emotional pain. Conversations about money can trigger us and we become anxious, defensive, withdrawn, or overwhelmed without fully understanding why. And I find that this happens to so many people, and it's exactly what my client was experiencing. So when my client came to see me, she felt exhausted and stressed by repeated conversations about money. She wanted the relationship to feel equal, but money discussions always left her feeling anxious, pressured, or afraid that she wasn't contributing enough. As we talked, she began to recognize a deeper pattern from her childhood. She'd grown up watching her mother be financially dependent on her father. Even though her mother worked hard, she never had the freedom to spend on anything she wanted. Everything had to be approved and justified, and everyone else came first. As a young girl, my client absorbed this fear and made a silent vow to herself that she'd never be dependent on anyone else. So every time money was mentioned in her adult relationships, it triggered fear around losing her freedom. But underneath the childhood layer, we discovered there was something even older. So as we worked with the energy, there were several past life imprints that began to surface in her, all carrying the same emotional theme. In one lifetime, her father in this life had been her employer. She was a servant in his household, underpaid, undervalued, and restricted. In another lifetime, her partner from this life had been a shop owner and employed her as a young labourer, sweeping floors and paying her a pittance. And in another lifetime, her partner from this life was the son of a wealthy family, and she was hired to be his governess, but was treated more like a servant, expected to obey, expected to do as she was told. So across multiple lifetimes, the same pattern repeated again and again. Poverty, restriction, lack of freedom, working hard for little in return, carrying responsibility without support, and unequal power dynamics around money and survival. So these imprints were still sitting in her energy field, and although her partner had no intention of controlling her, his presence and the subject of money was activating these old emotional memories. So as we cleared the imprints and released the trauma around them and cleared the emotions related to them, something really lovely happened. She suddenly understood why money created such a strong emotional reaction in her, why she got really anxious, why she felt panicked or pressured or overly responsible, why conversations around contributing felt like life or death situations. It wasn't irrational. It wasn't overacting. It was just her soul remembering. And with that understanding came a sense of relief. Her nervous system calmed down. She felt a sense of freedom, and there was a shift in the emotional dynamic with her partner. Their relationship began to feel more harmonious. Money conversations became calmer and clearer. The anxiety that had been rising in her body started to loosen its grip. And for the first time, she felt she and her partner were able to talk about money without triggering that old power imbalance carried over from the past. If money creates stress in your relationships, it may be touching wounds that began long before this lifetime. Childhood stories, subconscious vows, or past life imprints that still influence how safe you feel when money is discussed. If you recognize this pattern in yourself and you'd like support exploring your own story, whether it's rooted in childhood, past lives, or um, other soul contracts around money, you're welcome to reach out or explore the other resources here on my channel.